Hi everybody, it's Mark here at the Hall of Flame Museum of Firefighting, and it's my favorite time of the week, story time. And today's story is called The Two Little Fire Engine. Okay, that's not the two little fire engines, it's the two little fire engine. Okay, off we go. The Two Little Fire Engine, story and pictures by Jane Flory. Once there was a little red fire engine who lived in a toy shop. "I'd like to go to a real fire just once," said the little red fire engine to the other toys. "I could watch the big engine shoot streams of water all over, and maybe they would let me help put out the fire." "Pooh," said the stuffed striped elephant. "You are only a little toy fire engine. You wouldn't be any help at all at a big fire." The little fire engine said, "Oh yes, I would. There would be plenty of things for a little fire engine to do." All the other toys began to laugh at him. The Calico Clown and the Jack-in-the-Box laughed loudest of all. "You've never even seen a fire," said the Calico Clown. "How would you know what to do? You're too little. You would only be in the way." The little fire engine rumbled off to a corner by himself. He thought, maybe I would be in the way, but maybe I would be very good at fighting fires. I'll never know until I try. I'll have to go to a fire and see. So the little fire engine decided to go to the next big fire. That very afternoon, he heard the fire siren blow. Out the open toy shop door he dashed and stood at the curb, panting. The big red fire engines went tearing by, their sirens screeching and their bells clanging. "Phew," said the little fire engine. "I didn't know real fire engines were so big." The little fire engine hurried down the street after the big fire engines. He did his best to keep up, but the big engines went too fast. They got to the fire first. When he got there, the big engines were already at work. The long hoses were twisting and winding all around. The little engine could hardly get through. He puffed and panted over one hose and then another. At last, he was close to the fire, and he looked around for a job he could do. "I'll shoot water," he thought. But his little hose was so short that the stream of water didn't even reach the flames. In spite of all he did, the fire burned brighter than ever. "I wish someone would tell me what to do," he said to himself. The big engines were busy pumping and shooting water and running their ladders up for the firemen to climb. They had plenty of work, but there wasn't anything a little fire engine could do. The big fire engines didn't even notice that the little fire engine was there. They just pushed him to one side, out of the way. He had to be very careful that he wasn't run over and smashed. "I don't belong here, I guess," he thought sadly. "I'm too little for such a big fire. I'd better go back with the rest of the toys." But just as he started home, he saw a spark fly from the burning building. It landed right beside him and started to burn. "Here," said the little fire engine, "this will never do." He turned his hose on the little fire. His hose was just the right size. In an instant, the fire was out. Then the little engine had a good idea. "I'll be a spark watcher," he decided. "I can put out little fires before they get to be big fires." So he raced around looking for flying sparks. Whenever he saw one, he hurried to put it out. He rolled back and forth, and soon he was all hot and smoky, just like the big fire engines. Finally, one of the big fire engines saw the little fire engine scooting around so busily. "It looks as if we have a new helper," said the big fire engine. "Good work, little fellow." The big engines were busy putting out the big fire, and they were very glad to have the little fire engine put out the little fires. Finally, the whole fire was put out. All the tired fire engines began rolling up their hoses. The little engine was starting home when one of the big engines called to him, "Why don't you come along to the firehouse with us, little engine? We can use you." The little engine was delighted. "I'd like that very much. First, I must go home and tell the other toys so they won't worry about me." The little engine hurried home as fast as he could go. He was pleased that the big engines wanted him. "Won't the other toys be surprised when they hear that I am going to live with the big fire engines? I'll miss them, but after all, I must go where I can be useful. There's nothing for me to do at the toy shop." As he came to the door of the toy shop, he thought he smelled smoke. He sniffed again. And then he saw the flicker of flames in a wastebasket. "Fire!" he shouted, and he clanged his bell as loudly as he could. The other toys came running when they heard him. Where?" they cried. "Oh, save us, help!" They all ran around, but nobody knew what to do, and they were too frightened to think. The calico clown put his hands over his eyes because he was afraid to look. The wooden giraffe ran in circles, and the jack-in-the-box popped right back into his box. And the stuffed striped elephant was so frightened that he stood on his head. Only the little fire engine was calm. He had been to a fire, and he knew just what to do. He backed as close as he could to the burning wastebasket. He unwound his hose and sent a stream of water splashing on the flames. In an instant, the fire was out. "Thank goodness you came in time," the toys said. They all crowded around and thanked him. They wiped off the smoke and water. They rubbed him and polished him until he was bright and shiny once more. "I don't know what we would have done without you," said the stuffed striped elephant. "We are all so proud of you." The little fire engine was very happy. He said to himself, "I guess I won't leave after all. Big fires are for big fire engines, but little fires are for little fire engines. I'm just the right size to take care of a little fire. Who knows what might happen here if I should go away?" So the happy little fire engine settled down for a long nap, for he had had a very, very busy day. The end. All right, now, we're all very proud of the Too Little Fire Engine, but I want everybody, including this guy here, to know that if you are ever in a house or a building where there's a fire starting, like happened at the toy store at the end of the story, I don't want you to run around and cover your ears or go hide somewhere or turn, stand on your head like this guy did, right? I want you to get out, okay? So always remember, your job, and it's your only job, if you're ever in a house or building on fire, is 2 words: get out. Get out as quickly as you can and don't go back in. Think you can remember that? I really hope so. Anyway, really appreciate you stopping by for a story time. Check back often because we're always trying to bring you new stories here in the Hall of Flame Museum of Firefighting. I'm Mark. Bye-bye.